And good morning to you. Welcome to another edition of Expert Alert. I'm Jim Tabor, your host. This is where we bring in experts from different types of businesses to talk about how things have been going with them, things to help you, to teach you some things. We have a construction business been in here and other things, attorneys. But today we are going back. I know you don't want to. We're going back to 2020 just a little bit and talking to Thad McIntyre with PowerMark Properties in Biloxi. How are you?
Hey, Jim. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I know a lot of people don't want to go back to 2020, but we're going to kind of talk about what we want to talk about today is how things were in the real estate business last year,
yes,
and moving forward into this year, 2021, how things are going. So how were they last year? I mean, this COVID thing hit like March.
Yes. Yes.
Early on.
So, Jim, I have to say, in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you've been, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
2020, as much as we don't want to look back, we need to know what it was. And in the real estate industry, it was a record year for our company as well as most companies.
Really?
So phenomenally well for that purpose. I know that there was a lot of devastation, a lot of heartaches, but there was also a lot of good that came out of it. So that's kind of what we try to focus on, are the good things that came out of it.
So what would you say that it was the reason for that you had such a great year last year in spite of the pandemic?
I think it's because of quarantine, honestly. People that typically were in homes with college kids or their babies and mothers, they actually...
Say no more.
Right.
We need a bigger house, dear.
Yes, they were all together at one time and didn't realize how small the house was. So we had a record year of virtual sales as well. We sold more homes without people actually going into them because of COVID scare that we've ever sold. We do a lot of virtual sales for military, but this year was increasingly different just because of the pandemic.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons, and I think the second reason is certainly because of low interest rates. Low interest rates.
Yes, we talked about that before, that the interest rates last year were low, and it really was a buyer's market.
Absolutely. Record low, and that allowed more buying power for people. So with a lower interest rate, allowed them to afford more of a home, and that allowed them to look for larger homes or smaller homes. So whether you are an upscale buyer or even trying to downsize, it allowed you the privilege and opportunity to do that.
When people go on, I mean, you mentioned virtual shopping, and I do that. I've done that myself. Even real estate. Looking at different houses and what's available and everything. What are some of the key things that people look for?
So I think one of the big things that people look for are certainly curb appeal, as well as kitchens and bathrooms. Those are the biggest.
Kitchens would be number one on my list because I love to cook.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, and we see a lot of people that when they were quarantined, that's what happened. They actually went in and started updating their outdoor kitchens or adding an outdoor kitchen. They would also add swimming pools. Swimming pools were huge this year. We also saw people that were, because not being able to travel, would buy their own RVs or recreational vehicles. Recreational vehicles was at an all-time high. So that allowed them to be able to do things with their family that otherwise they wouldn't be able to do.
I had speaking of outdoor kitchens and all that, a friend of mine, her and her husband, they redid their whole back patio, and with a grill, and they added a hot tub and all that. So they definitely did some improvements around their home.
So we see that with the exterior as well as the interior. Home improvements on the interior, like I said, kitchens and bathrooms were the big remodels, but a lot of people actually just painted. They did an update on paint. So you would go to Lowe's and Home Depot and just see lines of people standing in line for paint. So that was the next thing. So people actually started realizing then, if I've got to stay here, I want it to be what I want it to be.
Exactly.
So between virtual tours and people updating their homes, that's created the buzz for real estate.
Now, with PowerMark Properties, you definitely keep your website and everything updated on a constant basis, so people can go in there. And if you had advice for someone that's wanting to sell their home, what are some of the particular areas that they want to concentrate on to have that curb appeal?
So, this time of year, exterior, you want it to look nice, and it's difficult because of winter and everything's turning brown. So you want to try and make it as pretty as you can with what you've got, as well as declutter. That's the big thing, is get rid of all your personal items, make it look as staged as possible. And don't be offended if a realtor comes in and tells you what you need to take off. They're the expert. They know what needs to look right for you to sell your property.
And I've seen some pictures of some homes where it's very cluttered.
Yes.
You know, and honestly, I do some real estate photography myself, and I see, you know, and I'm having to move things. You can see a whole bunch of the different homes that you have available on your website there that people can go in and do the virtual tour, as you mentioned. But, you know, I find myself when I'm going in and shooting a house having to move things because it's like, this isn't very attractive.
Right.
And people don't think about that.
That's one thing, too, that I would always recommend to a seller when they're interviewing their agent is to find out if they do professional photography. That's one thing that we do on all of our properties is bring in a professional photographer. And they're able to, they've got the eye for it, not necessarily that we do. And as good as a iPhone or an Android may be, it's not the best for someone to get the best picture from. So hiring a professional photographer is certainly number one.
No, definitely. And even if you, you know, you have someone, if you're looking for, you know, a real estate agent, and you know, take a few pictures of the house and show to them, have you ever turned down selling a home?
Yes, we do. We're not always a fit for someone.
I know that's probably not a question that some people think about, is that, oh, I can just get anybody to sell my house. No, not really.
We don't. Sometimes we're not a perfect fit. And fortunately for us, we sell our properties at 98% of list price. So we price properties to sell, not to sit on the market. There are some companies that their average day on market is over 180 days, which in this market is unbelievable. Our average day on market is 42. So we price to sell, and that's our motto. We list to live, and we make sure that we price accordingly.
Now, whenever you do, someone calls you and wants you to come in and, you know, get an appraisal of their home to sell, a lot of it also has to do with what's sold around their area.
Correct.
As far as, you know, you may think your house is worth this, but because of some of the way the houses have sold right in your neighborhood or whatever, you might not get that price.
Correct. We do a market analysis on the property, and in our proposal, we explain to them that we're going to make comparables to other like properties, so that have sold within the last 6 months, and make sure that they understand. And some people are upside down in their property, meaning that they're not in a position to sell without doing a short sale or just waiting until they get to a better position.
What about moving into this year now? How are things looking? Let's talk about that.
Yes. Things are still looking good for 2021. I'm looking forward to a little bit of a slowdown, and I think we're going to see that.
You need a break.
Yeah, I do. I do. Most economists say that we're going to see a little bit of an uptick in the interest rates. So as we start climbing into 2021, we're going to see a little bit of an increase, I believe. And with that means that people that could afford a home prior are probably going to afford a little bit less of a home now. And with resale being as tight as it is, new construction is going to be where people are headed.
Okay. Now, do you deal with more properties, I don't know, say the suburbs than you do the country? I mean, what are people moving towards nowadays?
So we're seeing a lot of people, and as we all know, Mississippi Gulf Coast is the hidden secret. The secret coast is where everybody's looking at now. So no matter where you're coming from, you're looking at it here. And we see a lot of people that are from Oregon or up in the Northeast that are wanting to move here to be on the beach. So we're seeing a lot of beachcomers, but we're seeing the people that live here want to kind of get away from the beach and move up towards the county a little bit more. So it's all over the board. Yeah,
we have a young lady that just started here in the news department, moved here from St. Louis.
Okay.
And I said, that's a culture shock.
Yes, it is.
Right there, but she was wanting to move down here. And for me, myself, you know, I've been living in the city for a while, but I'm a country boy.
Yeah.
I'd love to find someplace out in the country, a few acres of land, you know.
Register on the website, Jim.
We'll
make sure to take care of you.
I may definitely do that for this year. Any other pieces of advice you can give?
We're probably going to see another continuation of increase in sales prices. According to the National Association of Realtors and the Mortgage Bankers Association, we're probably going to see another 5 to 8% increase. So we're on the upward trend still, and it's going to be slow. So for the people that think that they're in it for a quick buck, it's probably not going to happen. But if you're looking for just a slight increase in your sales profit over the next year, it'll happen for you.
All right. Thad McIntyre with PowerMark Properties. Thank you so much for
Thanks,
being here
Jim,
with
for
us
having
again
me.
this year.
Appreciate it.
Hope you have a great year, and I know you'll be back next month. to
See you
share
then.
Some more information with us. I think next month you're going to be talking about another gentleman in here talking about some loans and things.
Yes, we're going to have a mortgage professional with us next week or next month talking about interest rates and different loan programs.
All right. PowerMark Properties, again, here on Expert Alert. We'll be back on Thursday for another edition of Expert Alert here on WLOX.
If you have a question for any of our experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert. For a list of any of our upcoming experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert.